In this podcast, I present my 3 basic skill cards for Warfighter. I will discuss the latest Kickstarter from Vento Nuovo Games. Also, there are some Warfighter news in Warfighter Corner, what is in the works for the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel, and the coming attractions for March 2025, all on Speak Out and Play. Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Speak Out and Play podcast for 2025. I hope everyone made it through February and all the fun that it brought and continues to bring. In fact, at this moment that I record this, where I live, we're expecting a nice little snowstorm to dump about 6 to 8 inches, so I can't wait for that. And now that I can feel that snow all over my feet, it is time for this month's topic, the 3 skill cards for Warfighter World War II that I use regularly. These are all basic skills that can be found in the Europe core set. I have used them most of the time in both Standard and Warfighter 29 play. The following cards are geared toward play that you will probably engage hostiles in at ranges beyond 0. The first is Local Knowledge. For 2 experience points, this allows you to look through the location deck and pull the card that you want to your hand. For just 2 resource points, this card can be quite valuable as you can use it to choose the best location that suits the current condition of your team. Its main advantage is that you can keep location cards coming to your hand, something that can be quite difficult when you continue to draw non-location cards. For Warfighter 29 players, I consider Local Knowledge essential for your player soldier. The next is the Rifleman. While rifles and carbines are not as flashy as some other types of weapons, they tend to be quite reliable, they do have range, and they do not go through ammo the way a submachine gun does. For 2 resource points, the Rifleman skill increases the ability to get a kill against a hostile reticle, especially when you add an experience points to provide an increase of +2 to your attack rolls. That means with an M1 Grand, you can hit the target on a roll of 5, which makes it more likely to hit than miss, assuming you defeat the cover roll. Now, an alternative for those who like to carry submachine guns instead of rifle, Hip Shooter provides spray, so you can hit multiple reticles as opposed to just one, and all that for just 2 resource points, although you will have to pay experience points when activating the skill. The next is Pitcher. When facing a lot of hostiles and when you want to carry a lot of grenades, and let's face it, who does not want to do that? The Pitcher skill at just 2 points can be a real steal. Like the Rifleman skill, it adds 1 or 2 points to the attack rolls of things you want to throw, such as grenades, satchel charges, and other explosives. This considerably increases the chance of KOing hostile cards, especially those with 3 to 4 reticles, with just 1 grenade. It also boosts the attack of satchel charges against hardened targets. Now, as a bonus, if your team carries a machine gun, particularly your player soldier, the machine gunner skill gives you the chance to inflict an extra kill on a hostile card for the expenditure of an experience point. This can considerably increase the chances of wiping out all the reticles on a hostile card. And that's a quick rundown of the basic skill cards that I employ, mostly in my Warfighter 25 missions, but they work well in standard missions too. And moving on to old business, one project that arrived after I completed the last podcast, and now has been long completed, is the new release from Vento Nuovo Games, The Lions of El Alamein. The Lions of El Alamein Kickstarter has successfully completed an operational level contest by Vento Nuovo Games. The focus is on the North African theater of World War II, specifically the first and second battles of El Alamein, which became the turning point for the war. The game uses oversized hexes found in another Vento Nuovo release, Stalingrad, Thunder on the Volga, but the system is more akin to the Barbarossa trilogy, Leningrad 41, Moscow 41, and Kiev 41. The game returns to the blocks that Vento Nuovo Games is famous for using after going to counters for their previous release, Blitz in the East. So anyway, I got the call to do the Kickstarter video, as you might suspect, for the game. So this gave me a chance to test out my new camera and equipment that I had purchased. And the results came out, well, pretty good, all things considered. It was a real test as I ran into some complications that I didn't expect. this turned out to be quite productive, as now in the future I can use the lessons that I've learned to speed up some of the results and the production process as well. Now, one rather odd thing was that the new lens I used was too wide. Now, I normally used a 24 millimeter lens for the videos that you see on Seek Out and Play. Well, for this new camera, I got a 16 millimeter lens. And because the minimal focus distance was a bit long, it was difficult for me to close in and get the composition that I wanted. So that was a little frustrating. But then I realized that the camera I got records in 6K that's reduced to 4K. So that means that in editing, I could zoom in without losing any quality. But you know something? You don't want to know that. You want to know what the game is like. Well, it's not like I had the rules, so I only had the turn sequence and kind of a basic rundown of the rules to show the different options that each player can use. And it's certainly similar to the Barbarossa trilogy as well as Black Swan in that regard. So now, if you like those games, you'll probably like this one as well. The map is certainly quite good. I would encourage you to check out the Kickstarter video, if only to see the map, because the shades of light brown for the sand and the darker brown for the rough and tough to pass through terrain is quite well done. It's a very well organized looking game. The hexes are quite large and well suited for the operational level game that it is. And hey, if you like blocks, it's got blocks. The game is scheduled to be out this November, and Vento Nuovo Games does have a strong reputation for getting their games out on time after the Kickstarter ends. So I would say that the chances are probably pretty good that it'll be out by late fall. When that happens, I will do my usual Let's Get Started videos as well as other videos to explain the mechanics of the game. But until then, let's switch gears and check out Warfighter Corner and see what is happening there. I will start Warfighter Corner with Warfighter War, a project that's been hinted from by DVG. What was listed to become a Kickstarter in March has now changed to unknown. Now, this could mean a lot of things. From the game still being Warfighter War, that's going to come out in March, to pushing the project back for more development, and maybe another game will be put in its place. Whatever is happening, we'll find out pretty soon, probably not long after this podcast airs. There is the Warfighter Samurai project, which is still in development. Now, that's a pretty fascinating subject, and I think it's perfect for the Warfighter system, but that's my humble opinion. However, it appears to be still too early in the development stage, or at least not developed enough for a Kickstarter. So I don't think that's the game that's going to be scheduled, but, you know, I don't know. It could also be another game that we have not heard of. I'm sure that DVG does have plenty of games cooking out there, and there's always a chance it could be an outside project. Now, if you remember Vikings, which is heading to the printers pretty soon, that was from another company, and DVG is publishing that. So it could be that. Whatever the case, we will be getting a new core set for the Warfighter series at some point, hopefully this year, and that is good news for everyone. In the meantime, I have almost completed my World War II expansion collection, save for the battle packs in the Kickstarter that are including 4 new expansions, but I've already paid for that. The only one that I do not have is the Medals expansion pack, which will be rectified on my next Warfighter purchase. I have also purchased all the Vietnam battle packs, so I'm looking forward to diving into the jungle to play them. And that includes the campaign, one that will look quite familiar to those that enjoy a certain movie that was set during the Vietnam War. That will be the subject of the new campaign rules video for Warfighter, which will come out later this year. In fact, I'm dedicating a month to campaign rules from different games because serendipity is something I believe in. Right now, that month is currently scheduled for December, but it could be sooner, so we will see. But right now, I'm faced with the conundrum of having so many expansions, yet so little time to make videos about them. So I am creating a series of unboxing videos for the expansions that will be published in addition to the videos already present on the channel. That means that Warfighter Wednesday, which is the second Wednesday of each month, is going to get an additional unboxing video. Now, given that the current number of published expansions for World War II is 88, with 4 more arriving as part of Battle Pack number 4 Kickstarter, There are 12 Vietnam expansions that are currently published, with another one that's also part of the Battle Pack Kickstarter, not to mention the ones from Modern and Fantasy and other core sets. So it's going to take some time at once a month to get through them all. Hopefully, I will live that long. That will be great. Even ruling out the ones that I've already made unboxing videos over. Plus, the Warfighter expansion unboxing videos are fairly easy to produce. So and they come in at about 3 to 4 minutes in length, and you've seen them. I show everything, and it's a quick video that takes not too long. And the plan now is to produce about 4 at a time, 3 times a year, so I cover the year. So when's that first unboxing video going to come out? Well, it'll come out when I can video it. That may be a little time. I don't know if I can get it out by March, but April for sure. And that'll be the first of a series. And so anyway, what you will see on Warfighter Wednesday is 2 Warfighter videos. So anyway, that is what is going on in the world of Warfighter. But what else is happening in the world of Seek Out and Play? The answer can be found in the works. February is not normally the month that I produce videos, mostly because it's a very cold month, even in Oklahoma, and my studio is in an unheated garage. But I am writing scripts, buying new games, and coming up with new ideas, or to put it more accurately, old ideas that I plan to repackage and make them look like new, because that's what I like to do. I like to take old stuff, wrap it up, make it look new, and then hopefully you'll see it as something new. I hope. I don't know. Anyway, the first is the personal essay series. I'm going to repackage some of my personal essay series, updating it with a new approach and new scripts. So it will be new information, with maybe pulling some ideas that I had with some of the old personal essay series. And right now the schedule is to lead off with the first one in July, and then every other month after that. The purpose is really to provide a platform for the wargame hobby or conflict simulation hobby, or whatever the name of the hobby is going to be from now on. I'm revamping the series mostly to reach people outside the hobby. Because let's face it, I'm never going to tap into the crowd that enjoys primarily traditional, complicated wargame fare. And we know the channels that are out there. There are plenty of YouTube channels that do a far better job of covering that aspect of the hobby that I could ever dream of doing. And yet my channel is not currently reaching out to a large number of hobby board gamers, role-playing gamers, or related fields for a variety of reasons. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I tend to do a lot more wargame stuff, but with Warfighter and other games. So that means I'm just kind of sitting there in between. So this doesn't mean I'm going to change the Seek Out and Play channel to any great degree, but there will be some changes in the personal essay video, which I have done before. In fact, I have published 7 of them. Have allowed me to speak about the broader aspects of the hobby without focusing on a single game. On the months that a personal essay is not scheduled, there will be a broader feature on a game. The games that will be included start with a series that I have made videos on before, which is the Undaunted series. The latest entry in the Undaunted series, Undaunted 2200 Callisto, not Undaunted 10 o'clock Callisto, will be featured in a video that covers the components, setup, and turn sequence. This is intended to be a starting point for those who have yet to play the Undaunted series, along with being an introduction to the fans of the series but who have yet to purchase the game. Now, Callisto is certainly a different game in terms of subject matter compared to the World War II emphasis of the previous releases. And the game is set on Jupiter's moon, Callisto, and the sci-fi setting may be more appealing for those who tend to shy away from historical conflicts. And while the structure of the game is basically the same, the setting and components, particularly getting away from the square tiles, is certainly a change. My video series will go over that, and yes, the solo rulebook as well. What I've discovered in doing videos on Undaunted is that the system itself is really simple and straightforward, which is great for those who play the game, but not so great for me trying to come up with new video ideas for the system. Having said that, I hope that this new video will be helpful for those getting into Undaunted, much like my How to Play Undaunted Normandy has been pretty successful over the years. Next up is a game from CMON, C-M-O-N, that is big, expensive, and set in the far, far future. But perhaps it's not so expensive, at least for me, because I got it on sale, and that's why I bought it. I wasn't necessarily planning to purchase Dune, War for Arrakis, given that the game normally retails at a fairly high price. But when that 30% off sale popped up on my feed, it was mine for the taking. As part of my channel refit, which will happen in stages over the course of this year and next year, Dune War for Arrakis is of the size and scope that I hope generates several videos that will help players better understand the game. One aspect that I'm most curious about is the ability to play the game solitaire. It is a solitaire game. Don't confuse this with the one that Gale Force 9 has published, which came from the original Avalon Hill game. This is a game that is for 2 to 4 players, but you can play it solo using the solo system. Now, my first video on the game will be an overview that combines unboxing with setup and turn and sequence, just like for Undaunted Callisto. This will be a longer video, like Undaunted Callisto, as well, at least longer than normal for me. But it will be the starting point of a series of videos that will explain the rules. It is tempting to create a Dune week, much like Warfighter Week has become. Warfighter Week, as you know, is the second Wednesday of each month. This would be the third Wednesday of each month. Now, I have done optional rules videos on a wide variety of games, but I might try to narrow that a bit to include games like Undaunted and Dune and the like. It's certainly a big enough game, and with 3 expansions, a hefty enough game for me to create several videos over. But, there is the option of purchasing other Dune games, particularly that one I mentioned from Gale Force 9, and doing some comparisons. So maybe a Dune week is in the offering. We'll have to see. We'll see what the series takes me, but the world of Dune is a fascinating one and offers some real promise, combining kind of the conflict simulation elements and wargaming and the like. But, there's another game that's from the 1970s, which has made a comeback as well, and it's called Kingmaker. Like Dune and Undaunted Callisto, the first video will combine an overview, unboxing, setup, and turn sequence, albeit in a shortened form, given the length of the rules themselves. Future videos in the series will include deeper dives into the rules section and other aspects of the game, which of course include the solo system for Kingmaker. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the new Kingmaker has a solitaire system in it as well, so I'm going to be checking that out. It won't be in the first video, but it will have its own video. Kingmaker is certainly a classic game, perhaps most famous when it was published by Avalon Hill back in the 1970s. It is rich in detail and relatively straightforward in terms of its rules, but it is augmented by a lot of cards. It is a game for 1 to 6 players, depending on the setup that you choose, which includes Classic, Expanded Classic, New Edition, and Solo Mode. Of course, the War of the Roses was a fascinating period in English history. This new version of the game offers updated graphics while retaining its classic appearance. So, the plan for now is to rotate videos once they come out on the first week. The plan is to rotate them on the third week for Undaunted, Dune, and Kingmaker, starting either later this year or most likely early next year. And there will also be other games as well, new games as well. I'm trying to add some more new games for you guys. So any suggestions will, of course, be welcome. And that is what is happening in the future. What are the videos that are coming up for March 2025 on the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel? Well, let's take a look at coming attractions and find out. For the first Wednesday in March 2025, Seek Out and Play presents the Scorched Earth expansion for Blitz in the East by Vento Nuovo Games. In this video, I unbox the game, show the components, which include the Scorched Earth card, and the final restoration phase, which is a new addition to the Blitz in the East system. In addition, there are 2 historic and 2 what-if scenarios included, the latter being based on the Balkans campaign, which did not occur. For the second Wednesday of March 2025, Seek Out and Play presents the striking rules for Warfighter Vietnam. The rules cover how to engage in hand-to-hand combat when playing the missions of Warfighter Vietnam. This includes how to enter striking range, the effects that screening hostiles have on striking, and how the combat system is resolved. The new striking or hand-to-hand rules is part of the overhaul to the rule system for Warfighter that is also presented in other core sets. For the third Wednesday in March 2025, Seek Out and Play presents Halls of Hegra, The Other Rules. The other rules cover the optional rules for the game, which include adding to the mission cards, adjusting the difficulty of the game, and the advanced event cards. The other rules provides more variety to the game after you have played it several times. Halls of Hegra is a solitaire game that pits a small band of Norwegian forces against a determined German assault. Check out more videos when you subscribe to the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel. In addition, there is a monthly Speak Out and Play podcast, which you can find on Buzzsprout and Spotify. For just $2 per month, you can support the channel by becoming a Patreon member and see the videos and podcast 48 to 72 hours in advance. At least one new video is released every week on the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel, so I will see you next Wednesday. And that is it for the February 2025 edition of Speak Out and Play. Thank you for listening. The next edition of Speak Out and Play podcast will come out in audio form only on March 24th, with the video version being posted on March 26th on the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel. Patreon members will get the audio version 72 hours in advance and the video version 48 hours in advance. A new video is released every week on the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel, so I will see you next Wednesday. And if you see Sally, bring her all the way home.